Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is February 10th. It is Friday morning. My name is Brad Matheny. We're going over the new time shift pattern of the SPY cycle pattern. And I spent quite a bit of time over the last day or so checking this out. This has been an unusual pattern. I had left it blank prior to yesterday because I had not discerned any real predictable pattern type out of this. But it's because it's a fairly rare pattern. It's only happened about 6 or 7 times over the past 3 years. But it also was very difficult to try to identify. But this week has been very clearly a very unique type of setup. And we'll have to watch this as this goes. But I've gone back over the last 3 years worth of data and identified this. And I believe it is a time shift +1 till weekend. Let me explain what that is. What that means is that the time shifts forward 1 bar. When we get this pattern, it shifts forward 1 bar. So essentially this becomes the 6th. This blank becomes the 6th. This inside breakaway becomes the 7th. This harami inside becomes the 8th. This crush becomes the 9th, and this gap potential becomes the 11th. It stays +1 in this scenario until Saturday, Sunday. So for the entire rest of the week, it stays in a +1 mode, meaning the cycles shift time forward 1 day until the weekend. Then it reverts back to normal, and we will go back into whatever the weekend patterns are. Now, we've interestingly had 1 here on the 28th and 1 here on the 6th. So let's take a look. Here's the 27th. You can see here, this is a full week. So here's the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. That's a Friday. Saturday is a 28th. I'm going to include the day of weeks in here so that we can go ahead and see where the weekends are. I'll highlight the dates differently. And you can see we get a time shift till weekend on Friday. Well, what happens on that point is we shift forward 1 bar right here to a blank day until Friday, and that's on the 28th, which is a Saturday. So we really don't get anything. We get what's called a reversal rally right here on the 27th. A lot of people were following me back then and had commented that this was a solid day. And then we turn around and we get into this, which is the 30th, which is an inside breakaway, which is what we got. And then we turn around and get rally, and then we get a carryover rally, and then we get a crush bar, which was a down bar. And then we end up coming over here and getting the weekend. This is the 3rd right here. Right here, and then we get into the 6th. The 6th turns into our time shift. The way we would do this is we would now look forward 1. So time shift +1 is a blank bar. So this red area right here, this bar is a blank bar. This is a little doji. Then we get the inside breakaway bar in a bullish trend. That's our inside breakaway right here. Then we get our harami line, which is this little black line right here, which is a perfect harami formation. It's a body within a body. It's an inside bar. It's perfect. Then we get our crush, which is this bar here. This is our crush bar, the big black bar yesterday. And then we get today our gap potential, which would be a potential for a gap, either up or down from the opening price range. We'll see how that plays out. And then we get into the weekend. So after this gap potential, we get into the weekend for the gap potential rotation. And next week on Monday, we go back to a normal top resistance. The time shift +1 till weekend is nothing more than a shift forward everything until Friday, Saturday. That's when it ends. If it happens on a Friday, then it'll shift whatever's here up to the Friday bar. And that means that on Saturday, we ignore it and we go back to start looking at these time patterns and these cycle patterns as they're occurring. If in this case, like it had here, we get a time shift +1 happened on a Saturday, we simply ignore it. That means there's nothing taking place. If it happens on a Saturday or a Sunday, it doesn't, in my opinion, matter. Now, understand that we'll see how these things go going forward, see if we have to pay attention to these if they occur on a Sunday. Technically, a Saturday is the end of a week. A Sunday is in computer code the beginning of the new week. That's how computer code looks at things. It actually goes from Sunday to Saturday. But again, this time shift pattern is something that's brand new. That's why we've been off. If you notice, we've been off one bar almost all week long here. And the first bar here was a blank bar. Then we had our inside breakaway bar right here, is a perfect inside breakaway. Then we had our perfect Harami line. Then we had our perfect crush. What ended up happening is this is the first time I've identified this pattern, and this is the first time I've actually seen this play out. What happened is we were at a time shift. At first, I thought it was a time shift +2, but then after study, it's actually a time shift +1. It just means that everything shifts forward one bar until we run into the weekend. Then I believe it goes back to normal structure. So at this point, we're looking at a gap potential right now. Remember, we're still in a time shift. So at this point, crush is over. That was this big black bar. Now we're looking at gap potential. Now, I hope this helps, and I hope you understand that this is part of the research that I do, obviously to try to help you. The idea is to try to give you proper guidance and understanding of what's coming. We'll see how these things play out. They're not 100% perfect. I know that. But it is very interesting that I can attempt to predict these things going forward. And as we learn to use these more efficiently, my goal is to try to hone this into other models that I have so that we can attempt to predict what's going to happen and try to tune our trading. So for example, if we know that we're in a bullish breakaway or a rally bar or a crush bar or whatever, we can try to tune our day trading into what is likely to happen. So as I mentioned to a member on Twitter yesterday, plan for success and plan for failure. The idea is to be ready in any instance. Okay, hope this helps. We'll see how this plays out, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing for you. Visit MENT.com, check it out. Become a member if you like what I'm doing, or if any of these things have helped you. The idea here is, like I said, I continue to do this research, and you guys continue to benefit from it.